In this course, we'll get you oriented to how to solve your performance problems with Power BI and save money in the process. Module 1 is completely free on YouTube, and there's a discount code in the description. This course will give you a lay of the land, a map, but it isn't a jungle expedition, an archaeological dig, or a scuba dive. We're not going deep here. Instead, this is for the folks lost in the woods. You need a way out, and you need it now. The Power BI reports are slow, you have a performance problem with your report, and people are complaining. It's urgent. And you know why? Because being lost is expensive. Having performance issues is like burning money just to stay warm. Every minute the problem is unaddressed, the company is losing money. And that's for 3 escalating reasons. First, every single person who uses your report is being paid to do so. I would hope anyway. And every second they spend watching a visual refresh is therefore a waste of money. Penny here, 5 cents there, but it adds up to hundreds of dollars. Over time, it's like a bunch of little paper cuts. Next, though, is a more subtle risk. If the reports are slow, especially if the users are complaining, then they're less likely to use the reports. If a report gets scrapped or canceled, all of your development hours were just wasted, and I would hope that at least you are being paid well enough for that time. Even worse, though, if enough reports fail to gain user adoption, then the whole initiative might be scrapped entirely. This not only wastes tens of thousands of dollars in person hours, it makes you look bad too. Finally, if you're paying for Power BI Premium or Microsoft Fabric, you are paying for computing capacity. And wasteful performance might be the difference between paying $5,000 per month for a P1 or F64 tier, or twice that for the next tier up. At that scale, it's literally cheaper to spend a week training the data team on the fundamentals of how to tune reports than it is to spend an extra $5,000 per month for the next tier of capacity for all of eternity. At that point, we're talking $60,000 per year. But there's a non-monetary reason why these issues are urgent as well. Oftentimes, these issues may feel sudden or surprising, and that's because you didn't see the problem coming, and now there's a time pressure to fix it. Maybe the report seemed fine to you whenever you built it, but once you deployed it, you got complaints. A report is a report, right? As long as the data is accurate and the report is pretty, who cares? Well, people's tastes and tolerances differ, and unfortunately, the world's most beautiful, accurate, and insightful report is useless if no one has the patience to use it. But maybe it's not an issue of personal taste. Maybe it was fine before when you were working with testing data or a subset of the data, and now that you're working with all of the data, performance has gotten dramatically worse. Or if this is a new data source, maybe the amount of data has doubled or tripled over time, and what rendered quickly when the report was created is now suddenly very slow, enough so that people have an issue with it. Or maybe your users were fine with the initial performance, but the user base expanded. Maybe the CFO has started using this report. The report has been successful, but it turns out the CFO, she's very busy, extremely busy, and she doesn't have the time to watch a refresh of a visual take 5 seconds. Finally, and unfortunately, many times you might be forced to improve upon reports that you never wrote that weren't your fault. The problem has been dumped on your lap and people are asking you to fix it now. Maybe the person who wrote it is brilliant with the problem domain, understands the business in and out, but isn't very technical. Maybe the person who wrote the report left the company. Or if you're a consultant like me, you are brought in to help. You're the fix-it person. In which case, you have to identify the source of the problem quickly. But for that, you need a strategy. All of this is to say, unlike databases, where the cost of infrastructure makes it abundantly clear that bad performance means wasted money, with Power BI, performance isn't an issue until it suddenly is. Often with business intelligence tools, the first consideration is user adoption, just getting people to use the tool and accept it as something adding value. And performance issues then are a good problem to have. It means you're suffering from success. It means people are using your reports. Fortunately, now that you have the problem, you need to solve it. So how can we solve it? How are we going to get out of the woods as quickly as possible and make sure that you learn enough system internals so that you don't ever get lost again? Let's look at the map. In the next clip, we're going to cover a simple performance tuning strategy. If you have no idea what to do, start here. The strategy is simple. Isolate the problem, measure the performance, and then modify your report to see what helps. And then do it again and again and again. Once you have a strategy, we'll then cover many of the reasons why these slowdowns occur. Power BI is fast by default. It's well designed, but there are certain categories of slowdowns that are common and easy to fix once you know what to look for. Then we'll go over some of the various places where you'll find the performance problems. Power BI is built on multiple software engines, each one requiring different solutions. Then I'll run through the dozen or so tools that you could potentially use to measure and improve performance. I'll tell you which ones to start with so that you don't feel overwhelmed. Finally, in the paid portion of the course, we'll dive a bit deeper and talk about concrete steps to solve these problems, including demos showing you how to do it. So let's get started.